Tonight, on Crime Case Psychology, we uncover a chilling investigation that nearly collapsed because of a single mistake. A mistake so small, just one wrong digit, that it almost allowed a serial predator to disappear forever. This is the full psychological breakdown of Ethan Rowe, the man the media later called the shadow collector. A man who blended into the background, unnoticed, unremarkable, yet capable of the most calculated acts of cruelty. You're about to hear how a killer stalked, abducted, and murdered without leaving a trace. How police stood right outside his door yet failed to arrest him. And how one tiny clue, something he accidentally dropped, led to his downfall. This is not just another true crime story. This is a case study in human psychology, criminal behavior, and investigative failure. It began on a cold October morning, 6:42 a.m. The industrial district was silent except for the wind pushing empty plastic bags along the cracked pavement. A jogger named Melissa Carter was running her usual route behind an abandoned warehouse when she saw something lying near a dumpster. At first, she thought it was a mannequin, a pale arm, motionless, a leg twisted unnaturally. But as she walked closer, her breath caught in her throat. It was a woman, alive, but barely. Her wrists were bound with black nylon rope, her neck bruised, her breathing shallow, weak, fading. Melissa dialed 911, shaking so violently she could barely speak. As paramedics arrived, the woman whispered one word, again and again. Ethan. Ethan. She died 13 minutes later. Her name was Amber Hart. 26 years old, police listed the case as a targeted assault. Isolated, personal, not serial. And that misclassification was mistake number one. 14 days later, another woman vanished, Jessica Lane, 29, school teacher. No enemies, no dangerous lifestyle. She simply disappeared after leaving a grocery store at 9:18 p.m. Her car was found the next morning, neatly parked, keys in the ignition, purse untouched, almost as if she stepped out of the car willingly. At the scene, detectives found something familiar. A piece of black nylon rope, cut cleanly at a perfect 45-degree angle. When Jessica's body was discovered near the river days later, tied the same way as Amber, detectives finally admitted, this wasn't random. This was organized. This was patterned. A serial offender was hunting women, silently, methodically, and he was getting better. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit was called in. What they found shocked them. The killer showed extreme control. Clean crime scenes, no fingerprints, no DNA. Victims selected based on routine. Rope cut identically each time, the profiler concluded. This is an organized offender, late 20s to mid-30s. Night shift worker, socially invisible, highly patient, likely suffers from a dominance obsession. This was someone who didn't kill impulsively. This was someone who studied his victims, learned their movements, watched them for weeks. He wasn't looking for chaos. He was looking for control. Psychologically, people like this are intelligent but emotionally detached, able to mimic normal behavior, experts at blending into the background, often described as harmless, but internally driven by fantasies of dominance. What no one realized yet. The profile was describing Ethan Rowe with disturbing accuracy. Ethan worked as a night shift janitor at Westbridge Mall, 32 years old, no criminal record, no girlfriend, no close friends, no family contact. His neighbors described him as quiet, polite, a little strange, but harmless. These descriptions are common for socially invisible offenders. Ethan lived in apartment 4B. From the outside, he was forgettable. From the inside, he was spiraling. Ethan had a small notebook where he wrote names, schedules, habits, favorite places, routes home, times they were alone. These weren't harmless observations. They were hunting logs, and each name had a symbol next to it. A star meant selected. A circle meant observed. An X meant completed. Amber Hart had an X. Jessica Lane had an X. One more woman was circled. She was meant to be next. Before Ethan could strike again, a woman named Emily Rogers came forward with a terrifying statement. For weeks, she noticed a man following her home from work, always wearing gloves, always pushing a janitor's cleaning cart through the parking lot. He never spoke, never made eye contact, just watched. Emily remembered one detail. His eyes didn't blink normally. It was like he was studying me. Her report gave detectives their first human clue. A quiet night shift janitor. Gloves. Same district as both victims. Emily didn't know his name, but they soon would. Detectives pulled surveillance footage from stores near Jessica's last known location. At 2:13 a.m., a man bought black nylon rope duct tape, zip ties, gloves. He kept his head down, avoided the camera. But one angle caught just enough of his build and walk. Detectives ran the list of all night workers working within 5 miles, and one name was a perfect match. Ethan Rowe, janitor, Westbridge Mall. He became the prime suspect. Police moved quickly, maybe too quickly. Detectives filed for a search warrant for Ethan's apartment, 4B simple, but the clerk typed it incorrectly. 4A instead of 4B, a single digit, a tiny clerical error. When the tactical team arrived, they stormed the wrong apartment. Apartment 4A belonged to a retired accountant, an innocent man awakened by flashlights and shouting. Meanwhile, Ethan Rowe stood silently behind his peephole in 4B, watching the chaos, realizing exactly what was happening. He wasn't stupid. He knew they were after him, and he acted fast. Within 1 hour, he wiped down surfaces, packed a duffel bag, destroyed hard drives, burned papers, cleaned walls, removed tools, wiped door handles, stripped his bed. By the time detectives corrected the warrant, he was gone. They missed him by less than 40 minutes. But fate has a strange way of correcting human error, because Ethan made one mistake of his own. As he rushed to flee, a receipt slipped out of his jacket near the mailboxes. A detective found it while stepping outside. Black nylon rope, zip ties, gloves, purchased at 2:13 a.m. Same items used on the victims. That receipt was enough to update the warrant legally. They entered Ethan's apartment. He was gone, but he left something behind, a small black notebook. Inside were names, dates, observations, potential future victims, symbols marking each stage of attack. One chilling sentence was written at the bottom: collection complete, time to relocate. That notebook was his downfall. A manhunt began immediately. Roadblocks, highway patrol, news alerts, patrol drones, gas station checks, bus station surveillance. Ethan was trying to escape the state. He avoided highways at first, used back roads, paid cash only, avoided eye contact, never stayed anywhere more than 5 minutes. But after 14 hours on the run, exhaustion caught up. At 3:19 a.m., a patrol officer on Highway 17 noticed a gray sedan pulled crookedly on the shoulder. Engine running, driver slumped in the seat. It was Ethan. Inside the car were a burner phone, the same rope brand, maps marked with circles, a list of bus schedules, a knife, a duffel bag with clothing and food. He was minutes away from crossing state lines. He was arrested without struggle. During interrogation, Ethan didn't deny anything. In fact, he spoke with disturbing calmness. He described how he selected victims, followed them for weeks, used janitor access to avoid cameras, learned their weaknesses, waited for perfect blind spots, carried out killings methodically, felt powerful when they couldn't fight back. His voice never changed. No remorse, no empathy, just chilling certainty. His most disturbing statement was, "Your mistake convinced me I was meant to get away. I thought it was fate." This kind of thinking reflects a dangerous psychological flaw. Grandiose delusion mixed with obsessive control. He believed he was untouchable. He believed the world owed him domination. He believed he deserved to escape, but he didn't. Prosecutors brought physical evidence. The notebook surveillance photos, victim testimonies, behavioral analysis, timeline reconstruction, the rope receipt, Emily Rogers' statement. There was no defense left to Ethan was convicted of. 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count attempted kidnapping, 6 counts aggravated assault, 9 counts stalking evidence, tampering, attempted escape. The judge said, "You hunted human beings like objects. You moved like a shadow, and you exploited every gap in the system. You will never walk free again." Ethan received life in prison without parole plus 70 additional years. Ethan Rowe's case is now used in law enforcement training worldwide, all because a single clerical error nearly let a serial killer vanish forever. This story teaches us, sometimes evil hides in plain sight. Sometimes justice hinges on one tiny detail. And sometimes a monster escapes not because he's brilliant, but because humans make mistakes. Yet in the end, a single forgotten receipt, a small slip of paper, brought everything crashing down. If you want more deep true crime psychology breakdowns, the kind that reveal not just what happened, but why the human mind can become so dark, make sure you subscribe to Crime Case Psych, hit the like button, share the video, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a case.